All right, today I have a special guest doing some narration and commentary with me, Mr. Mark Clark. Quick intro for Mr. Mark Clark. Mark Clark is my father. Um, he actually was one of the people that got me interested in training from the beginning, and I'll let him talk a little bit more about that. Mark, welcome. Welcome to the commentary of Austin Harris's YouTube videos.
Thank you, Austin. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. Just getting ready to tell you whatever you want me to talk about.
We got quite the audience in the house tonight. But, like I said, I just wanted to get him involved with this because I think, learning a little bit about him kind of helps you guys learn a little bit about me. So, Mark, how did you get started with weight training or just training in general, whatever that be, martial arts or sports in high school, etc.?
Well, actually, I would have to say I was influenced from being in Mexico during the summer times, living down there with my grandmother and one of her sons, my uncle Ernesto. It was definitely a third world country when I was there, and he would actually use coffee cans and fill them with cement and then have a pole on both sides of the coffee can, and that's what he used to train with. And he had different sizes. I mean, my first recollections are probably 8 or 9 years old, and I wasn't able to move much, but I moved as much as I could, and that's when I really got the bug for fitness. I think it's something that I know my body needs on a daily basis, and I think it's something that everybody needs.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, one of my first memories of weight training was my father actually has a small little gym in the basement of a house in Hampton, Illinois, and his Smith machine, probably a few hundred pounds of weights, and he would try to drag me down there, and I'd get down there, and I'd be benching off the Smith machine, and it would hurt, and I'd want to quit, and that was probably like one of the more earlier times as far as weight training, but he got me involved with martial arts at the age of, I believe, 4. You want to talk a little bit about your martial arts journey?
Oh yeah, it's martial arts. I know that some people, they dive right into it and push through and get their black belts as expediently as possible, which I think that's a great idea. Unfortunately for me, I think I was probably about 16, 17, and in a small town, Maquoketa, Iowa, and a franchise of Chun Kim's, Mr. Doan, Stephen Doan, I believe his name was, and he was in there, and he had started a dojo, and I got involved there and was able to go from my white belt to my green belt, and then I believe at some point, I guess it was when you were interested in it, when finally Austin wanted to do it, and we went in and saw at the time Mr. Sadoff. It's Master Sadoff now, and one of Master Sadoff's issues was he thought Austin was too young, even though, and I it wasn't anything that I could say yes or no to, but I do know that Austin had gotten into it. We were practicing. He had definite discipline, which was one of the issues that Mr. Sadoff was concerned with. So when we went in there and had a class, Sadoff thought that Austin had the discipline and the patience to get started as young as he did.
Yeah, I definitely think that that discipline transfers over to bodybuilding too, as far as being disciplined with the diet and the training. And I was in Taekwondo, I believe, until the age of 12 or 13, and then I kind of dove into wrestling. And my dad still gives me shit about not getting my black belt, so I guess that might be something I have to do in the future. But as far as your weight training goes, what was that? 4 summers ago, 5 summers ago, when I was down here. My father was probably the strongest he's ever been. And that summer, we both just literally trained every day at LA Fitness, rode our bikes at LA Fitness. Then we'd come home, eat ice cream. With lots of ice cream with some whey protein mixed in there. And we kind of kept going. What, like, as far as over your time of free weights, what have been like your best lifts or your strongest lifts?
Oh, I would say on the bench, which really always seems to be my real benchmark of what I can do. At one point, I did 365. I believe I got 3 reps out of it. So I think I got 5, but I'll go with 3, just in case. As far as even with dumbbells, I think I've been able to bench 110-pound dumbbells. I believe that's probably the most I ever got. And then shoulders, with the Smith machine, I was up to about 225, 250, I believe, on that for a few reps. And my legs, I've never really measured that so much, but I would say I can remember probably 325 deadlifts for 3 or 4 reps.
Yeah, it's funny because I always get complimented on my legs, and obviously I train them all the time, but I've never really had to put an extreme amount of attention into them. And I think I give a lot of the credibility for that to my father and my mother, who both have great leg genetics. My father pretty much gives the credit to a lot of biking. We talked about this recently. How far would you go sometimes on your bike rides? I remember you used to be a really avid bike rider, as far as on a weekly basis.
Well, like I was taking trips from the Quad Cities to Dubuque, and I think that was like about 125 miles. So I would do that sometimes in a day. Then a lot of times it was 30, 40 miles a day. A lot of it is commuting. I mean, I'm a very utilitarianistic person. If I think I could ride my bicycle to work every day, I would. So I think that just doing something that you need to do in a manual sense is a great way to add to your whole fitness regimen.
Yeah, I've definitely taken that on, at least more recently, is trying to be a little bit more well-rounded, I guess you would say, with my training. I think that sometimes we think that, X exercise is going to get you to where you want to be, but there's really many different ways you can either, whether it be building your legs, your chest, or your shoulders, or what have you. But I mean, if you watch some of this footage that I've included in this, my dad's still pretty strong. He's 51 years old, still throwing up those 80-pound dumbbells for some reps. So, he's been pushing me in the gym, and I really appreciate him being on tonight. Is there any last words that you have?
No, just keep on doing it. I think that my muscles they know where they've been. So like working out with you, it's bringing them back. It isn't that I lost it so much as I don't use it. And if you don't use it, your body doesn't even know what it's supposed to use until you start using it again. So, I never think that's the one thing. I don't think any endeavors in fitness is ever wasted. Even if I blew up to 220 pounds or 250 pounds and I lost all the weight again, whatever fitness level I was ever at is just going to remain with me until the end.
That's a great way to end this little conversation. Hopefully we can get Mark a little more involved with the channel going forward. But if you have any questions for Mark, as always, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'll make sure I track them down and get them to answer them. But that's all the commentary we got for today. So as always, subscribe, like, and keep slaying.